Winter weather has arrived here in New York City, and we'll be wearing our heavy coats and scarves during this afternoon's festivities set to begin at 3 p.m. Eastern. But what else should those attending be prepared for? Well, to break it all down, ICE meteorologist Dave Margolin is joining me now. Dave, you are the man with the plan, so talk to us about what we can expect later this afternoon as we're covering the tree lighting in just a few hours.
Sure, thanks, Trinity. Well, it's a mixed bag, some good and bad. The precipitation, the little snow and rain we had this morning should move out, and we should also see more sunny conditions for this afternoon. The bad news is behind this cold air mass, or this air mass that moved through, is going to be some colder air and a lot windier conditions. We'll probably see wind gusts up to 40, 50 miles an hour.
You know, I just want to point out the crowd behind me. Again, there's dozens of people from Bath and Body Works here celebrating on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange as we kick off the tree lighting later this afternoon. So we're probably getting images of that at some point in time during this interview. But Dave, I also want to talk to you more about, we're coming off two mild winters, so to speak. So what do you think people should anticipate this winter, and how does it compare to last?
Well, so let's start with the next couple of weeks. The next couple of weeks, we are going to see a transition to warmer conditions. So the cold that's here and that's been in the Midwest, Northeast the last couple of days, it does look short-lived, and we're going to move back to an above normal temperature regime for the next 2 weeks. Beyond there, I would say the two main signals that we have kind of looking into this winter are the climate signal, right? The climate change signal, which is sort of set a new baseline about 2 to 3 degrees warmer than what we've seen. But you can still see warm and cold seasons, around that sort of new baseline. The other signal is the La Nina signal, where we're moving into a weak La Nina, and it affects more of the configuration of the weather. And what that means is we're more likely to see warmer than normal conditions in the southeast and toward the east coast of the U.S., and colder than normal conditions across the northwest and north.
What would you say are the regions that are the coldest or the snowiest, so to speak, this holiday season? Well, this winter season, rather.
Yeah, I would say there's a couple areas that stand out, but probably the main area as a function of sort of just, kind of where they're located, but also the La Nina Bay State, are going to be the Pac Northwest and sort of the northern areas of the country. That's where we're most likely to see some really good cold events coming out of Canada and the potential for snow. But a secondary area that we're going to have to watch is sort of along the Ohio Valley, because that's sort of where you're going to see the crossroads, where you're going to see the cold and warm air masses kind of clash. And it's typically during those kinds of events where we see more wintry weather.
How might this winter's forecast affect energy demand and supply, specifically when it comes to heating and fuels like natural gas?
Well, I would say, the baseline here is that natural gas storage, is at one of the highest levels, I think, since 2016. So we're starting at a high level. And again, as we sort of just already talked about, most of the market forecasts that we've seen so far and indicators are suggesting we're going to be warm. That being said, there's always factors that can come in sort of sub-seasonally that are not well predicted this time of year. So the two things I think we're going to have to watch out for, it's a little technical, but a sudden stratospheric event or a strong MJO event, which in some cases can cause 4 to 6 week periods of significant cold and are not well predicted this far out.
Tell me something, as our meteorologist, are you going to be outside with us for the tree lighting later this afternoon?
As long as it doesn't get too windy, I'll be out there.
How are you going to weather this weather?
Well, I usually just put on a cap and a coat, and I get outside.
Well, they do say that about 90% of our body heat escapes through our head and our ears, so it's good if you want to, pack that hat. You're going to need it.
Maybe earmuffs too.
Oh, earmuffs are good. I'm going to be wearing earmuffs.
Scarf, yeah.
And maybe you could pick up an apron from Bath and Body Works just behind us. I know that they are handing them out in the crowd that's gathering right underneath the bell podium as we get ready to ring the opening bell. In fact, we're about 10 seconds out right now.